So today we're in the Old Testament of our Bible, but specifically we're in the book of Daniel. And many of you might be familiar with Daniel's story, especially that one with the lion's den. But we have a different story from the book of Daniel today. So Daniel and many other Israelites were taken from their homeland and brought to Babylon as captives after the destruction of the city of Jerusalem. Through a series of events, Daniel earned favor and was appointed to a high position along with his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And the Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar, King Neb for short, became quite impressed with the one true God that Daniel and his friends worshipped. However, the king still believed in false gods of Babylon too, which kind of created a problem, which we're about to see. So one day, King Neb made a huge gold statue. How huge? We read in the book of Daniel that the statue was 90 feet tall. After the statue was finished, he sent for all the rulers and officials in Babylon who came and gathered around the statue to honor it. Then a messenger called out the king's command. You will soon hear the sound of horns and flutes. You will hear zithers, lyres, harps, and pipes. In fact, you will hear all kinds of music. When you do, you must fall down and worship the gold statue. That is the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Now, I just want you to imagine what this would have looked like. A massive crowd of people who every time the music played, okay, maybe not like that, but at the moment, the people probably raised their arms and bowed to the ground.
Maybe something like this.
And they did it again. Kind of crazy, right? Why did they do this? Yeah, it was to honor this gold statue or idol that King Neb had set up. They were worshiping a statue. Does anyone see a problem with this? Exactly, this was against one of the commands that God had set up. God's people were not under any circumstance to worship false gods or statues. So you might be wondering, what would happen if you didn't bow down? Was this just an optional thing for a select group? Not quite. If you don't bow, you will be thrown into a blazing furnace right away. Whoa, that's harsh. So just like the messenger said, the music played, all the officials and rulers of Babylon bowed down and worshiped the statue, but not everyone bowed. You see, Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were there that day standing around the statue. And when the music played, they didn't bow. One of the officials went and told the king on them, and they kind of got in trouble. See, they don't pay any attention to you, King Nebuchadnezzar. They don't serve your gods, and they refuse to worship the gold statue you've set up. So, any thoughts on how King Neb would take this news? Yet, not well. In that moment, he sent for the three friends to come talk to him. So, we're going to use these three chairs to represent our three friends. Nebuchadnezzar was very angry. He sent for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they were brought to him. The king said to them, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, is what I heard about you true? Do you not serve my gods? Don't you worship the gold statue I set up? And King Neb gave them one more chance. One more chance to hear the music and bow down to the statue. But they didn't take this chance. Before the music even played, they spoke up and they said this. King Nebuchadnezzar, we don't need to talk about this anymore. We might be thrown into the blazing furnace, but the God we serve is able to bring us out alive. He will save us from your power. But we want you to know this, your majesty. Even if we know that our God wouldn't save us, we still wouldn't serve your gods. We wouldn't worship the gold statue you set up. Wow, so that was some confidence right there. And I'm guessing you know what happened. King Neb respected their bold response and let them go free, right? Not even close. The king commanded that the furnaces be heated 7 times hotter than usual and that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown in. But then the strangest thing happened. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet. He was so amazed he asked his advisors, didn't we tie up 3 men? Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire? They replied, yes, we did, your majesty. The king said, look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire. They aren't tied up, and the fire hasn't even harmed them. So this is really crazy, right? King Neb looked into the furnace, and the guys were just walking around in there. I mean, everybody up. We're going to walk around a little bit. Okay, so think about it. This whole thing started with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refusing to bow, but standing out. And now, here they were, standing again, but this time in the middle of a fiery furnace because God was protecting them. And not only was God protecting them, but God was somehow with them in the furnace. They came walking out of the furnace, and everyone crowded around them. They saw that the fire hadn't harmed their bodies. Not even one hair on their heads was burned. The king's response was pretty amazing. May the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be praised. He has sent his angel and saved his servants. They trusted in him. They refused to obey my command. They were willing to give up their lives. They would rather die than serve or worship any god except their own God. No other God can save people this way. So I'm giving an order about the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. No one may say anything against him. Did you catch that? King Neb actually praised God because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to praise the statue. The story started with bowing to a false image, and 3 guys knew it was wrong. It moved to walking around in a fiery furnace as God protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from destruction. And then the story ends with bowing, but not to a statue, to the one true God. So some of you might be wondering, couldn't they just have pretended to bow to the statue and avoided this whole mess in the first place? That's a really good thought. But think about it. If they had done that, if they had just bowed a knee but inside they were saying, God, I'm not really bowing to the statue, okay? What would have happened? Probably nothing. But you know what wouldn't have happened? King Neb and the others who were there that day wouldn't have had the opportunity to see God show up in a powerful way and in the end, give God honor and praise. All of this was because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego believed that God was with them, even in a foreign land, even in the midst of their difficult circumstances. And God showed up, even in the fire. So maybe you'll find yourself in a moment like this. Maybe you'll be hanging out with your friends and they'll start doing something that you know is out of bounds. What are you going to do? Well, you'll have to make that decision for yourself. But if you choose to stand up, God can give you the confidence that you need. You can trust that God will be with you in that moment. And another thing that helps in those moments, having friends who also make wise choices. Think about Shadrach. I imagine that finding the confidence to stand up for what was right was easier because he had Meshach and Abednego standing there with him. Surround yourself with people who help you trust God and make wise choices. So today, as we wrap it up, I want you to think about this question. When are some times you need to trust God? In other words, when have you found yourself needing to trust God with confidence? When do you need to remember that God is with you and that you can trust him? You have friends all around you that need to encourage you and stand up. They have confidence and trust God too. You just got to believe in it.